Justin Fields came in last night and scored a touchdown. First touchdown of the season for the Chicago Bears, as a matter of fact. Put in the end zone. Actually, he put it in the end zone after Montgomery did, who's terrific. This kid, David Montgomery, is a spectacular running back, and he could be a difference maker at the position. He showed it last night when he ripped off a 40-yarder when the building was going totally crazy. I was talking about this home field advantage in SoFi Stadium. Montgomery ripped one off, and he was running it at will against Aaron Donald and the rest of that defensive front last night. At will. And I can only imagine if Justin Fields has that ball in his hands and you don't know if it's him or Montgomery that has it, that would be a particular weapon at the Bears' disposal that could come in much demand, certainly when they've got an offensive line that can't pass protect. And I know that's the reason why I think Matt Nagy is not putting Justin Fields out there just yet. But as I told him, Matt Nagy himself, that when he came on the show, after drafting Justin Fields, I told him he's not going to have the time to sit him all season long. I told him his plan was, we're going to do what I saw Andy Reid do with Patrick Mahomes, which is sit him all season long and then play him and maybe towards the end of the season. Let's get him up to speed. I told him on the spot, I don't think you're going to have that luxury. And sure enough, Nagy wisely put Fields in the game in week 1. A little bit of a care package. I guess that's the new thing to do. Right, you're either going to throw your kid in the deep end of the pool immediately, or you're going to have a little care package, which is we're going to take care of our guy, and we're going to make sure we physically take care of our guy by not throwing him out there. And the reason why we can do that with a care package for the kid is because we've got a veteran quarterback who can handle the rest and keep us on the tracks towards the Super Bowl, like the 49ers are clearly doing with Jimmy G and Trey Lance, who scored the first touchdown for the 49ers this year, a touchdown pass. Interestingly enough, who he threw it to, a kid named Trent Sherfield, not Brandon Ayuk, who appears to be in a doghouse there in San Francisco.
Yep.
But as for Fields, he's out there in a care package. He scores a touchdown on the ground. And then Dalton takes care of the rest. Except the rest last night was rest in peace because of some odd combination of going away from the run after it was clearly working in the first half and then going for it on fourth downs instead of trying long field goals or living for another day. And put it all together, Dalton standing behind that offensive line as a sitting duck if he's not playing the quick game. And they were trying to do the quick game, but then if you're going for it on 4th and 15 in second half, there's no quick game. And rainbow passes trying to get the ball to the line to gain, which is the phrase that pays in many broadcasts, you're going to lose. Here's Matt Nagy after the game talking about his quarterback situation moving forward.
I think that for him, the times that he got in there, that he did well, and it being his first game, and Andy did a good job too of helping extend some of those drives and us going through that whole deal of how it's going to go. But we'll continue to keep growing with that stuff and see what we want to do with that. But in the end, I thought, and again, I go back to that touchdown run. I mean, Justin did a great job, and then early in the game on the first throw too. So the film, going back and just watching the film in general, regardless of Justin or Andy, just in general to see where we were. I thought we got the run game going pretty good, which was good, but we got to use this to grow, and we got to stay positive.
Here's the issue with staying positive. It's a long way to next Sunday. Mm-hmm. And you know what the phone lines are going to be like in the 24/7, 365 shows that I'm sure Bears players drive around in cars and hear. It's going to be an ugly couple of days. But we saw this one coming. We saw it coming in the Rams' house the opening night. That were my lock of the week, the Rams. I saw it coming. We all saw it coming. That this line that is definitely deficient with Dalton behind it was going to be a difficult slog for the Bears, and they lost by 20. Now, here's what Matt Nagy really wants to say. Go for it, Mike Del Tufo. Get it, please.
What were they really thinking?
Here's what Matt Nagy wants to say. I see the line out in front of him. I don't want to get the kid killed. I don't want to get the kid killed. You don't think I hear the howling? You don't think I hear, Bob from Winnetka? You're on the air? First-time caller from Winnetka and Wheeling? Schaumburg? And the Chicagoland guys going nuts? Of course he hears them. And he also knows that when it all comes down to it, if he doesn't play the kid, eventually the McCaskey family will look around and say, should we get someone to play the kid? Aren't there enough people out there who would play the kid? They're going to play this kid. Now, this week against the Bengals, maybe you use the Andy Dalton, fire and the revenge game.
Revenge game. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Because here comes Burrow and Jamar Chase, who suddenly is not dropping anything except touchdowns on the opponent.
Catch it.
100-yard game he dropped. Not a ball. He dropped a 100-yard game on the Vikings. They're coming. And if the Bengals, I'll tell you this, make sure I get this right, because I like to be accurate here. Oh, yeah. If the Bengals stroll into Soldier Field and win that game against Andy Dalton, and Justin Fields' care package is not frequent or successful enough, you're going to have to start the kid. And guess who he's going to have to start against? The Cleveland Browns, who I understand lost the game late in Kansas City. But they showed everybody.
They're still the Browns?
Yes, no.
I mean,
that's wrong,
What
Chris.
do you mean? They were up 22-10. They should have won the game.
I know what you should do, and what you can't sometimes do is stop Mahomes, which, by the way, the rest of the league kind of has a problem doing. Certainly when one of your defensive players gets the gate because he shoves a coach.
That was
Early on in the game.
That was a terrible call.
We'll talk about that later on, too. But I'm not going to sit here and say the Browns were the Browns. I'm just not going to do it. You can keep on hammering that point.
Your eyes did not deceive you yesterday.
Chris, you're acting like something weird happened. Like, I don't know, the punter dropped the ball or something and had a turnover. You're acting like something weird happened with the Browns like that.
You can't lose that game when you're dominating for 3 quarters.
But you also, for my point here at the very least, is that's Garrett, that's Clowney.
Well, yes.
That's the rest of a defense. And if you're concerned about protecting your kid, you're walking into a situation where he has not enough experience to go against those guys. And then you're going to start him. Right. And then what? Against a line that potentially is more banged up than they were in week 1. Zach Wilson said after losing to the Panthers that he feels like a truck hit him.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
He was running for his life, too.
He was, but the Jets threw him out there. Now, they've got no other choice, but they threw him out there. Trevor Lawrence had the worst football day of his life yesterday.
And it was still pretty impressive.
And I have not been around the rest of his football life days, but you can basically say it was one of the worst days of it. It was his worst day of his football life, and maybe even Urban Meyer's, too. But they went through it, and they're going to learn from it. And Justin Fields is losing that time right now. You can't get that back from last night. You can't. Did he learn something watching it? Maybe he did. Maybe he did. But the 2021 Bears, roster, circumstances, fan base, attitude of the fan base is not the same as the 2017 Kansas City Chief fan base. One fan base that watched Alex Smith do all of this stuff and then watched him do it again when you drafted a kid, and everyone's like, okay, we get it. We get it that you're sitting the kid and then letting him wet his beak a little bit. One size does not fit all. And the Chicago Bears, you got to play the kid. And I don't care if the line's banged up. I don't care. Get him up to speed. Let him learn. I think that is eventually going to be the inevitable staring Matt Nagy in the face reality. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.